Hey YouTube, coming at you with Beyond the Hype, where we look at new Pokemon or Pokemon with new moves, or new Pokemon or Pokemon with new or buff moves, and give you the real hype-free strengths and weaknesses of the Pokemon. Furret. So it has Sucker Punch. It's got Swift, I believe, this season, and it has Trailblaze. So it is an interesting Pokemon. I had pretty good success with it. I think it has a lot of things going for it. There was a couple things that just caused me some problems, like some Pokemon that you just really need to watch out for if you're going to run this Pokemon. So, strengths, 116 attack, 105 defense, 158 stamina. It's kind of a weird one in terms of its stat product. So the 116 is obviously not high enough to feel like it's going to do a lot of damage. But the 105 defense is actually quite low when you're looking at just from like a stat perspective. It is offset by the stamina at 158 for 1934 overall. So it's a weird Pokemon in the fact that it doesn't hit super hard. And you can definitely take some charge moves, but the harder hitting charge moves you do feel. So it's kind of a weird stat product. It has two other things definitely going for it. It's only a normal typing, so it's only weak to fighting and double resist ghosts. Again, I personally, I'll give you my sort of bias. I prefer Pokemon that do not have like 5 to 6 weaknesses. If you watch my video on Claydol yesterday, you will see that I had a lot of problems with Claydol because it is weak to like 6 typings and 5 of them are main meta typings. So I really have a problem with that because it seems more RPS. Whereas as opposed to this, you just have so many more neutral matchups. So there's really only a couple things you need to watch out for. You need to watch out for the fighters, which are weak to, and then stuff that resists Sucker Punch. So Fairy, Dark, and Fighting are the ones you need to watch out for resistant Sucker Punches. In terms of the moveset, 90% of the time I was going Swift. And it just felt like the Swift damages more, even though it's a 10-turn move, but that's not why you run Trailblaze. You run Trailblaze to boost your attack. And the Sucker Punch does good damage, 3.5 energy, 4 damage. Where this can feel a little underwhelming to us, it's not even underwhelming, but is you don't get same type attack bonus on it. So 4 damage per turn is a nice damage per turn output. Like there's no denying that. Obviously, if you have same type attack bonus on it, you would feel that a bit more. But Sucker Punch is still a very great energy and damage combo. Swift, I really liked Swift. Although it does not do a ton, 66 energy, to only take 10 to get to and do almost 1.9 damage per energy with the 4 damage Sucker Punch. Like this combo alone felt like I could take a lot of matchups. I threw Trailblaze a couple times. The only reason you're throwing Trailblaze is if like Swift is resisted or you just really think that boosting your attack is better, depending how long you're going to stay with the Pokemon. So I paired it with Lapras and Clodsire. Clodsire was the actual pairing because you're weak to, again, think of the things that I said you're going to have problems with. Fairy, Dark, and Fighting. So Clodsire covers a lot of those weaknesses. And I needed a third, and I chose Lapras because I've seen others play with it. I know how strong it can be. I want to test it for myself. Pokemon like Lapras, Grumpig, a couple of those Pokemon I know are going to be strong, so I'm going to play with them without doing like a Beyond the Hype on them. Other content creators have already talked about how like, oh, this is so strong. Yes, it is very strong. I covered that before the season started about how these Pokemon do not need to be on the hype. They're strong. You are double weak to fighting. So something like, someone mentioned Scrafty. I saw like 3 Scrafties last season. Maybe with more Lapras and more Darks and more Ghosts, you'll see more Scrafty. So you are double weak to fighting. So something like Scrafty on the lead would be pretty tough. But otherwise, I'd probably play out any other fighter lead like Primeape or Annihilape. Okay, so I forgot what the lead was, but they got out. Here comes the Sparkling Aria, which chips a good amount. I definitely should have come here faster. I don't know why I didn't. I know this thing has Dynamic Punch. I should have come here way faster where Sucker Punch is super effective. So shield up one move, and again, getting to the Swift because this thing just comes so fast, and I'm going to put, if you're going to get Dynamic Punch off, I want to at least grab a shield here. So, and then I was like, okay, I know this has Dynamic Punch. I still want to see it. I want to see how much it does. So it lands and you live, right? And that's the thing, like it's super effective. but and it takes you to the red, but you live, so that's okay. Just throwing the Swift to chip, and again, Sucker Punch is resisted here. Going into Clodsire because they are weak to poison. And out comes Malamar. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to chip with this. Clodsire is essentially my win con now. So I'm going to just go into Lapras and start. I know Psywave is like triple resisted, but I'm not worried about Psywave. I'm worried about this Sparkling Aria landing. So they're going to go straight superpower. Lapras is just too damn tanky. So taking that, getting off. Their defense is now lowered, so this will do even more damage. Not enough to take out, but enough to chip a good amount. Unfortunately, Psywave triple resisted. Gives them a little extra farm. I'm expecting a catch here, or I was supposed to say they didn't even try and catch. I was expecting that because their attack is lowered because they threw the superpower. So they want to reset. Now, I know they only have Foul Play, and if you watch my video this morning on... it was on Togetic, but I had Sableye. The Foul Play feels like a big nerf to me. And this is a perfect example where Psywave is super effective, and I was already in the, like, getting towards yellow, and Psywave super effective. They can't even take me out with 2 Foul Plays, and it's not even close. So these Foul Plays, you're going to need to start throwing 3s and 4s in scenarios where you were previously just throwing, like, 2s and 3s. So that is a big issue with it to keep into consideration. So they had what I thought was a good lead. So I swapped into Furret, and they responded with a Talonflame. So again, Trailblaze isn't going to do much. Again, the Sucker Punch is great, like, but non-stab. If this was stab, this thing's basically almost taken out already. But non-stab means I'm going to have to throw a second move here. So I will shield up 1 here, time it there to have to throw a second move. But you can throw a second move. This thing comes pretty fast with second moves. I mean, with like the Swifts. So take it out. Great. Out comes the Superior. Going to get to another one. So I love the spam on this thing. I try to... I don't think I do it every video, but I try to note my bias. I prefer spammy Pokemon over the Pokemon that take 16, 18 turns worth of moves to get to. So something like Sparkling Aria at 12 and 11, Swift at 10. Like, look how much damage I just put out with the hard-hitting Sucker Punch and the spam Swift. I love it. Like, that is, to me, a Pokemon that's going to have a ton of play in a meta where you're doing fast move damage and you're spamming enough to be doing charge move damage. So like Furret, Drapion, like these are the type of Pokemon that I prefer to play with. And so it's not surprising that when you have a normal type Pokemon with only 1 fighting weakness, double resisting ghost, which there's going to be a lot in the meta, I find this Pokemon is going to be, like, I think this is going to be a good Pokemon to use. But take it with the grain of bias that that it comes with. So, I don't shield up move because I'm going to let Furret run with, or Clodsire run with the win here. So take the move, get off another Sparkling Aria, Psy-waving as much as I can. I'm going to commit to the farm down here and just shield up a Surf. Yeah. Or no, sorry, they only have 1 Pokemon left. I'm just committing to the farm down. I have 2 moves, but I'm just committing to the farm down with the Poison Stings. Mirror Match. So I am running Ice Beam on my Lapras because that is the recommended moveset. It is way faster to get to than Skull Bash, but one of the things that I did mention in the analysis of Lapras is that having Sparkling Aria and Ice Beam means that you have nothing for waters. So out goes a resisted Sparkling Aria. So I'll get off 2 here before they get off a Skull Bash, but my opponent's running Skull Bash, which is neutral. So Skull Bash will chip a ton, but it is very, very, very slow to get to. So that does land, but by that point we're like almost even in the health department. However, their defense does rise, so they will be able to take it. But you can see how close it was, even with like just going straight resisted versus them landing a Skull Bash. So I think it's worth the Ice Beam to just have that flyer coverage. And if you just see a water, just spam those Psy-Waves, Sparkling Aria combo there. So Wiggly, again, the good news, I always say again, and so like I've started a thought. Sorry, I always do that. I know I do. I just want to see how much Chip would do, which I don't even think is the right play. I think the right play is actually just coming straight Clodsire. But I don't care about wins and losses early in the season here. I care about learning the ins and outs of a Pokemon, how much damage it does, how much can it take, stuff like that. So you're going to see a lot of situations where I just spam, like stand when I shouldn't, or spam moves that I probably shouldn't, or take moves that I shouldn't, because I want to see how much the damage is being done here. Unfortunately, Drapion is tough because these Aqua Tails are coming. I need to get to an Earthquake, which is 16 and 14, which means these Aqua Tails at 8, they're going to get to like 2 for every 1 Earthquake I get to. And now I have a resisted Sucker Punch coming their way too. So I do get a Swift off here. And I think I get to a move. Do I throw it? I do throw it. I think they undercharge because they want to get like a Poison Sting off to get ahead on energy, which is actually quite smart. So the Swift does land, and they're going to get the Poison Sting off. But I have a shield, so they are going to need, I think, 3. Because I can shield 1 Aqua Tail, and 1 Aqua Tail from this range is not going to take me out. So they're going to need a 3rd, and they're just not going to outpace me before I get to an Earthquake. So shield 1, we CMP on the second one. Aqua Tail will not take me out from this range. And I will get to the Earthquake to take out the Drapion. So taking it out there. Lapras into Toxicroak. It is a poison fighter, which means it's double weak to Psywave. So I'm very comfortable just staying in here. It looks like it's using a poison type fast move. And I know this thing has like dynamic punch. So I get this off and they shield. So I shield back knowing that they have like a dynamic punch. Plus the Psywaves are just doing so much, right? So shield that up. They eventually get out into Drapion. So again, I'm just going to chip here. I don't have a great answer. Psywave is resisted. Sucker Punch is resisted. Poison Sting is resisted. So maybe you want to switch to Team Up. But as you can see, Sparkling Aria, man, this thing is a hard-hitting move for such a bulky Pokemon. And I'm going to get to a move again. We do CMP, but, you know, damage is sort of done there. Down to the deep red on their Drapion. So, again, both moves are resisted, so I'm just going to come in here to not take a super effective Aqua Tail, although Crunch is going to hurt a lot. And this is what we're starting to see. Like, this is normal for this Pokemon. You can take one move, mostly comfortable, but you're not ever like going to live a second one, pretty much. And that's what you get with the stat product. So I get the Swift off, which is great. And what's in the back? It is a Drifblim. So this is where I finally throw my first Trailblaze. Swift is resisted on the Ghost. This is resisted on the Flying, but boosting a super effective attack here is well worth it. Gonna shield up because these Sucker Punches will just take out here. So shield that up. Commit to the farm down for the win. Wiggly. Yeah, I've got Answer in the back, and this is a fine neutral lead. So they make a catch slash... Yeah, they make a catch. Well, I feel like it was a slow throw. I mean, I feel like I should have caught that. But it's tough to tell at 1.5 speed. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go right back up here. And then get into Clodsire. And I think the reason I'm doing that is because they're weak on the front of Clodsire with Wiggly. And they came in with Toxapex, which means they probably have like a second water or ground Pokemon in the back to deal with Clodsire. So I'm going to just come in here and basically sacrifice it. Try to keep alignment. And there's your ground. So that's a right read, but I don't know if this is the right play. Because the problem now is I can get my Furret on this, which is fine. But Lapras is getting a bit low. I can take one, but I'm going to have to start shielding soon because I need to use... I got to get out here. Oh, I'm going to chip here. It's not a bad idea. Chipping to put it potentially in Psywave range. I don't mind that. And I decided in the ending, let's not do that for some reason. Okay, so get in here. Get off the one move. They shield. Get off the next one. Crazy. This thing is a beast. I even mentioned in my other videos, like start building against this thing because this thing is going to cause you a lot of problems. And I live because of the bulk, and I get to this. This thing is broken, it feels like. Holy smokes. So taking those charms with ease, taking them down here. I'll get to a Trailblaze, which is super effective. Not enough to take out. I can shield, but if they're at 2 moves, I'm going to lose this matchup. If they're not, I can probably Sucker Punch down. And they are not at 2 moves, so I will Sucker Punch down. Superior, bad lead. So again, I try Furret as safe swap, which is not a great safe swap because you get punished if they have Dark or Fighting, right? Or Fairy. At least with Fairy, you kind of spam. I guess you can spam Swift in any scenario. So I know this is Frenzy, and I know it's going to hurt, so I'm going to just respect the Frenzy because they're slow to get out, which means they probably don't have a fighter. So that's why I shielded. Like, if you're going to stay in that long and take a charge move of mine, our switch clock's going to be so desynced, I think it's worth throwing it. So I already burned 1 shield. I'd be surprised if I burn 2. Yeah. So the Frenzy does land, but I do flip switch there. But I flip switch with a 1 HP and a shield down. So is it amazing? I don't know if that is a great scenario to be in, but I do have energy coming out. Again, this will chip. I'll just have to align on my own Lapras because I cannot come Clodsire, which is weak to Psywave and Water. So again, the Psywave is going to do the majority of the damage here. Sparkling Aria is resisted. So I'm going to try and like overfarm a little bit just to make sure I have some energy coming out in case they like come in with something else I need to chip. And there it is. Something I need to chip is a Stunfisk, which is kind of a tough one, right? Because it's ground and electric, which is a combo that will beat this. However, Mud Bombs are pretty weak here. So it looks like it's, and they're running Thundershock, which is, Thundershock is a fast charger, so it makes sense. But it's going to take at least 3, maybe even 4. Nope, just 3. So it's just going to take 3. And again, the pacing here is the only problem because it's going to take 16 here, which they're going to get to basically 2 and 16. And that really doesn't even take out. I'm actually surprised at that. And they try to catch, but allowing me to chip here is not bad. And I instant swap, try to catch the water move, which I do. The problem is that does chip, and now I need to like commit to the farm down. Oh, I remember this. Because I wanted to come out with energy, because they have energy. So I have to commit to the farm down and thought like, okay, no problem. But yes, problem. The freaking pacing thing on this thing and the bulk on this thing means I get to another move. So again, I know this is about Furret, but frig man, Lapras is a beast. So I will end up losing because I do not come out with a move. And they Mud Bomb me down. Raichu, again, bad lead. I'm going to try Furret again as a safe swap. I'm not going to shield up anything. Well, that's interesting. I would normally, and it's a brick break, I would normally recommend not shielding that up. Because if you're going to get punished by like a fairy or something anyways, burning a shield and losing is not the right play. But it is just a grass, so Sucker Punch and Swift combo here will grab a shield. Swift is not a hard-hitting move, so it'll only take 2 because it's a Vic here, but if it was something else, it would take 3. But, you know, take it down to the red. Clodsire is going to just eat these moves. It's just an acid spray, so I think they're trying to like acid spray like Leaf Blade me, but that did not work because I took them out. Marowak in the back, so my win con is probably going to be Clodsire. Or if they let this go and they're low enough to Psywave down, maybe Lapras can combo. But if they do let it go, I've already seen Brick Break. I assume it's going to be an electric other move. They decide to throw a Brick Break again. So these Psywaves are adding up. They're going to need to throw here. And at this point, I just like Poison Sting as much as I can to make sure I just have an Earthquake to come out for the fire Pokemon here. Again, I'm assuming an electric move with this Brick Break, which are all resisted. So that's fine. So just make sure I'm coming out with energy, and they do come in with Marowak. So I will get off a Earthquake. It is actually not enough to take out, which is actually surprising to me. So I'm just going to throw the move, take this out because I don't want to shield or take any more damage here when Raichu is not doing anything to me. So I can just easily take this out. Don't even need to shield. Everything's resisted here. So take that out there. Yeah, so again, I think that it is strong from the perspective of only being weak to fighters. And again, there's the pure fighters are limited. Like the counter users, karate chop users are pretty limited in this meta, which gives it a strength. Sucker Punch is a hard-hitting move. Stab obviously would be better, but it gets by without stab. Love Swift, super spammy and decent damage. Again, you're not putting up damage like at a pace of 10 like Feraligatr does, or even Shadow Drapion does, but you generally have more bulk than them. But again, your bulk is not like incredible. It's like okay. I'm comfortable taking one move most of the time. I'm not you're impossible to take two moves most of the time. So that's its sort of strength and weaknesses. Yeah. So we'll see. Again, I use it as a safe swap. With Sucker Punch, it's a weird one. Because I'm just thinking like, can you use this as a safe swap? Yes. But like, if you use it as a safe swap and see a fighter, at best you got just like Swift or Trailblaze, but boosting a Sucker Punch for resisted doesn't mean anything. And same thing like a Mandibuzz or a Wigglytuff. Anything that resists Sucker Punch is going to cause you a lot of problems. So I don't know about it as a safe swap. You could use it as a lead and just get out if you see a fighter or those Pokemon Dark or Fairy, and then just safe swap into something else, and then just play it out as a safe lead. You could do that. I found it like okay as a safe swap because again, even if you get hit with a Fairy, it's not like you're weak to Fairy, so you can like spam Swift enough, especially with like a 1 or 2 Sucker Punch advantage. You can get to like multiple Swifts before they even get to a charge move, which is a benefit. So that is Furret. So tomorrow we'll do, I don't even know what other Pokemon, I haven't done battles yet, but we'll do another Pokemon. Maybe Emolga, maybe Jellicent, maybe your Dusclops and Dusknoirs, something like that. One of them anyways. And then tomorrow afternoon, we'll look at Skeldurge with Blast Burn because it is Community Day on Saturday. And on the weekend, we'll just finish up all the rest of these Pokemon. Yeah, a lot of Pokemon I still want to use. Grumpig, which I may just put on team. Dusclops, Dusknoir combo there. Togetic this morning. I want to use Jellicent still. I want to use Weezing still. I want to use Credilli still. I want to use Emolga still. So there's 6 Pokemon that I want to use, and I guess I could do it Friday, Saturday, or no, I can't. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Yeah, I guess I could if I wanted to do one of each. So we'll see. Anyways, let me know. I forgot again. Damn it. I just shot the other video, and I mentioned the other video, like, I need to start asking questions, because what I always do is I just, like, start the analysis, do the battles, and then 22 minutes in, I ask you guys a question to try and get engagement. And in the last video, I'm like, I'm going to say it early so I can get engagement early. And I didn't do it again. So I will try to remember for the next one. Anyways, that is it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.